Hi, seventh graders. Mrs. Harper back with you. We're finishing up the rest of Canterbury Tales. Today we're going to focus on the epilogue. The epilogue, the prefix epi, E-P-I, means over, done. So it's fitting that the epilogue tells us what's happened after the story. So for this case, it's important because we need to find out who wins the story. I'm going to start reading. You're going to follow along on page 110. We have a couple pages to read to find out the answer to the question, who wins the prize? Epilogue. We made good time along the Rhymes way and into Canterbury, clattering through a gate in the wall so narrow that I feared the widow's hat. After the mud and turf of the country's ride, the cobblestones jarred through the horses' stiffening legs. We were glad to tumble off outside the Templars' hospital. I prefer to spend the night at an inn, said the miller. But as it was, our party was so big that it took every bed the friars could offer us. No inn in Canterbury would have been big enough. Raged along the refractory table, we shifted uncomfortably on our benches after the long ride, and were too tired to speak. Only as we wiped the trenches clean with crusts of bread and supped a second cup of wine did we begin to feel talkative again. Well, said the summoner, leaning across to rap the table in front of Harry. Who won? Ah, said Harry. Is that everybody then? No more stories? We looked at each other, trying to match each face to the story it had told. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Said the miller. For a laugh, it's got to be the friars. Devil take him. That's all supposing I can't vote for myself. His flaring nostrils so terrified that haberdashery that he immediately voted for Matt. Humorous stories are all very well, said the prioress, licking her lips so that no crumb could escape. But we must consider the value of the stories. How much do they teach us about life? Here, here, squeaked the summoner, plastering his hair across his skull with the palm of a sweaty hand. I voted for Brother John's story myself, but then I've always liked words over and above the meaning wrapped up in them. The knight and his son both thought it merest chivalry to vote for a lady. They gave one look at the widow and voted for the young man, or excuse me, voted for the young nun. But when the scholar was pressed for an opinion, he said, I'm afraid I wasn't listening very much. Sorry. Where does that leave us? Snapped the magistrate wapishly. To my astonishment, I noticed that Harry was holding hands under the table with the widow. What did you say? He asked when he noticed that everyone's eyes were upon him. It's a split vote, I explained. We can't agree on who won. Oh, I can tell you that, Harry said, as his florid face split into a smile as broad and white as a harvest moon. I won. There were murmurs of discontent. Had the contest been rigged from the very start? Was the referee about to change the rules in his own favor? I have won the agreement of this excellent lady, said Harry, standing up and bowing to the widow, to become my wife. You are all invited to the wedding when we get back to Southwark. The prioress sniffled. The partner gave a disappearing bleat, but most of us cheered and stomped and banged our mugs on the table. But whose story was best? Insisted the magistrate peevishly. The widow got to her feet, as majestic as an oak tree. She patted Harry on his bald head. Your word is absolute final, of course, my pet, she said. But if I could venture a suggestion, these people won't be content until somebody is declared the best storyteller. Now, there's not one story with more votes than another, so I suggest that we all tell another story on the way back to part the sheep from the goats, so to speak. I tell you, reader, you never saw an idea so well received. I'll tell you about the time I fought smugglers on the Spanish Main, the ship's captain. Have you heard about the one about the three-legged ox? Asked the miller. There's the sweetest little story I once heard about a martyr virgin who was boiled to death in. Wait till you hear mine, though. Stop! The parson was holding up his hands for silence. Let there be stories for every mile of the way home, but let us give over tomorrow to the truth. The truth is that the blessed Thomas A. Baker, not a stone's throw from this very spot, laid down his life for the love of God. He brought us here, and tomorrow it is him we'll pray to in the cathedral. That's the truth. That's no story. That's all I wanted to say. And he sat down. He had silenced us. I sat thinking about poor St. Thomas, lying on the cold stone floor with his murderer's swords sharp at his forehead, and all our enjoyment suddenly seemed a terrible, callous, frivolous thing. So, Brother John said, not to the least cast down, let's take ourselves and our thanksgiving to the good man's shrine. Then maybe all the saints in heaven will look down upon our homeward journey and listen in on our stories. I dare say they relish a good story as much as the next man. Amen, said the parson thoughtfully. Amen, roared the rest of us, all except for the cook, who was asleep under the table. And that concludes the end of our story. As I say in the slides, if we jumped around and we've only read 4 of the stories and the prologue and the epilogue, if you're interested in reading more about some of the other characters in the story, you are welcome to do that for your silent reading choice time. Have a good day.